Blog Talk Radio.
Here at ACO Radio, American Communications Online, or any affiliated stations or websites are not responsible for what guest hosts or call-ins may say. All programming is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Thank you, Ahmed Painter, also known as Thomas R. Becker. He helps us with American Communications Online and the Allied Command Organization for all our veterans. Welcome aboard, all you ground troops spinning around smartly on the planet. This is your host, Teresa J. Morris, and I'm excited about bringing the ACO Club to you today with people that know me, and it's great to have friends on this day in 2020. It's April 10th. And I'm excited to talk to a real live, I guess, entrepreneurial social networker that's roughly my age. So we're like activated to help others, and we're like the baby boomer generation. And I don't know if he's calling in or if I have to call him in, because we had some trouble with all these stations we have and channels, and I pulled them all up at one time, amazingly so, but that's we're only 5 or 8 minutes out of the way. But let me see who this is. 707. Hi, 707, can you hear me?
I can hear you. This is Robert Butwin.
Oh, great! Yay! You found the right channel, and I did too. And I apologize for being a few minutes late. We had all the channels pulling up, and I didn't do it. So I was absolutely amazed that the universe let me get to you. So you know what we'll do today, Robert, is talk about you as an author, a strategist, and helping us with the ACO Club as an ACE coach, but I understand you go by a lot of other names, and I was hoping people on this great Good Friday would tune in and hear what's coming up on my channel on YouTube. But I've heard that you're a big Google YouTube person, and I've seen some of your films or some of your videos on YouTube. I was watching them before I came on, so I'd be briefed a little bit of how you've done shows in the past. But if you don't mind, you're calling in from California. Now, I need to know how much and how much you're going to allow me to speak about you.
You can say whatever you want, and you can ask me whatever questions that you think that your audience would like to hear about.
Wow, that's carte blanche, man. This is like American Express. Okay, carte blanche. Wow. Well, Robert, you're really a world traveler, and wow, Good Friday. What a time to be on the planet. I want to be very outgoing and forthwith that Robert had came about me because I truly believe in something that we can't feel, see, or touch, smell, or taste, sixth sense, seventh sense, whatever you want to call it. But I want to brag a little bit about Robert, so everybody that knows me that doesn't know Robert, because people were saying, is it this person to me today, or is it that person? They were like, they all wanted to know why they didn't already know this gentleman in my life. And that's because, for whatever reason, the universe didn't line us up until there was a LinkedIn. And he is a famous, well-known social networker, and started way back in the day when he and I were walking the path with Wayne Dyer. So that was my key to his fame and glory, I guess one might say, is the fact that Wayne Dyer has passed on. But I loved Wayne Dyer. He was my mentor in many ways. When I was walking the path, Deepak Chopra, when I met him, and many of you know I was one of Michael Jackson's celebrity type of entrepreneur psychics, if you will. And Robert found me on LinkedIn, and he allowed me yesterday to call him and ask if I found him or he found me, but he was quite honest with me and said, actually, I found you. So Robert is one of these guys that he's been working from home, and since roughly 1990. And I was looking at a letter that his wife sent me. And is your wife's name Bonnie? Is that correct, Robert?
That is correct. Definitely. We've been married like 33 years.
Go ahead.
No,
now, she's still alive on the planet.
Yes.
She's still alive.
To me, but yeah, she's been my soulmate. We've had just a phenomenal relationship.
Wow. Well, this is great because, Robert, I'm just going to read this real quick because Bonnie was nice enough to help me out because she knew that for whatever the reasons, I guess maybe she's like me, we believe in synchronicity, I'm guessing, but he grew up in a family of very successful business people and self-made millionaires. And from what I understand, his grandparents had a business, which my grandparents had a business, so we had that in common. And he had a lot of cousins, and I had a lot of cousins, so I could see a lot of synchronicity or whatever you want to say, similarities. But early in his business, he made a crucial decision to leave behind all his country club smarts. So we can get into that because I'm sure many of you have been to country clubs. I've been to the largest country club in the world, not bragging because it was paid for by other people. And I was starving to death and couldn't wait to get to the dinner, but I was so ignorant. I'd already been schooled on how to do the silverware, but I mistakenly made the wrong choice, and they took my plate away. Too fast. So we can talk about country clubs. But Robert entered network marketing field on or about part-time basis back in the day, and we can talk about what made him change over 35 years or more because I really don't know if we're up on the years in 2020. But he recognized the potential for learning his ropes and helping people basically full-time marketing, and he was a coach from his home roughly about the time I was still in uniform and during what I call the Ascension Age beginning. Oh, excuse me if you hear phones in the background. I can't turn them off because so many people need to know what's going on. But Robert's successful career had earned him respect and admiration from many colleagues throughout his profession, and those may be running businesses, but we can let him talk about that. And then he was associated with many MLM firms and large corporations, and we can talk about that because many of you may remember some of those, some of you pros and cons, but he's going to help us with the 5 A's on how to do that kind of stuff if you're interested. If not, that's okay too. But we have top income earners that he has coached, and I've seen videos of people that just swear by his, I guess you could say they give him a real endorsement, and I even have subscribed to his channel on YouTube today. So Robert, he's very well known in leadership roles with many organizations throughout the United States and other countries as well. And I've put him including the ACO Club because after I talked to him last night, I realized I didn't know a thing about him. I didn't even, what little bit, I didn't even really glance at his LinkedIn because I don't know. I was going on, and I hope he'll talk about that. I don't know if you want to call it serendipity behavior, synchronicity, deja vu, past life. We can talk about all that. But he's associated with so many people and associations. So I gave him the ACO Club.app and said, he asked me a few questions because he's a strategist. But I asked him to come on because he's been doing this with people from all over the world, and he is an industry leader. And in 2009, he was honored by having his name inducted into the MLMIA Hall of Fame. But I guess that's Multi-Level Marketing International Association, but we can let him tell us later. And he was a contributing writer for many professional trade journals, and you guys know that's one of my specialties. And I've recently retired in 2017, but maybe he'll help us. Who knows? We can see because we got to have a legacy to leave. But he's an author of a best-selling book called Street Smart Networking. And, we love our authors. And tonight, Friday, all you guys in my authors club that's open source or in all our social media groups, Facebook, LinkedIn, you guys know I'm big on authors. And, again, I'm going to say that he traveled with his groups and also his book, but he wasn't even really about his book when I talked to him, which was interesting being that he's an author. But he's traveled Europe and recently Asia, where he's been a spokesperson, and he was at one time on the stage with Wayne Dyer, so we'll get into those insights and his wisdom on how to help other entrepreneurs, independent souls, and how he's helped others with the 5 A's accelerate their success, because he's all about being human. Now, his wife, Bonnie, and he live in the wine country, and I've been up there as a truck driver. Many of you know I drove coast to coast, and pulled for the U.S. Treasury and Microsoft, so of course I had to go up in that area with Microsoft and the government. But he actually walks his talk, okay? And I know you're not supposed to talk this long, blah, 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 about other people, but if I don't do it, who else, because you guys know I'm very outgoing, and I love people. I'm a big promoter, and I love to help incredible people. And this guy reached out in this hard time on the planet, and he even agreed to come on this very special night, this very special time if you live in America for sure, especially if you're a Christian, which President Trump said he was today, which really shocked me because very rarely do our presidents really claim to be like, I'm proud to be an American, at least I know I'm free, and then the Christian thing. But I was just shocked, but I'm glad because I was raised that way. But so many of my people believe in source versus the word God, and that's okay because we're all in the ascension, and we're metaphysicians, and we're New Agers, and we're not New Agers, and we're scientists, and we're spiritualists, and we're revolutionists, and we're evolutionists. So he said he was open to all that development because he was very open-minded, because he's been helping many countries, many people develop in global networking. So I asked him if he could help me share some cosmology, space exploration. I told him about my following of Sir Richard Branson and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, the three biggies, and we do the power of three. And so there's so many things over the next hour, 45 minutes we can talk about for American Communications Online, which is the logo that I'm sporting now for the International Intermodal Community for global communication and network marketing. So without further ado, we're going to welcome all our universal, pastors, because we have in California, we are universal life pastors, metaphysicians, open heart, open mind, and we're very welcoming for everybody, including all our Asian and Indian partners, which I'm working with. I used to work on the Pacific Rim with China, Japan, Korea, a lot of people with the containers, but I'm going to ask him to open up everyone's mind with me, and let's see what we can strategize. So Robert Butwin, author, strategist, welcome to ACO Club. Now, Robert, you're going to have the floor. So if you would like to start, you just go wherever you feel like you need to. But we usually start at the high school where you were born and move forward. So are you an American? Why don't you start there?
Definitely I am American. I grew up in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And, I probably grew up similar to many people. I had a good family background. My parents always told me the pathway to success, my roadmap to success was go get a good education and ultimately then get into a job. You can work hard for the rest of your life. I always expected to be running our family business. The challenge was there was too much family in the family business. I graduated from Highland High School, went to the University of Minnesota. If you remember the Miracle on Ice, I played sports with a lot of the different people that were on that 1980 Olympic team. But our family started the high school war cheerleading jacket business. My mom's brother owned a bunch of car dealerships. My grandfather's brother's son was the president of MIT. So I came from a good family background. But again, we just had too much family in the family business. And you mentioned about Wayne Dyer, and all of a sudden I got a tape series from Wayne Dyer called No Limit Person, and that sort of was the thing that really changed my life, because he started to. By listening to that tape series, I started to realize that the limits that existed in my life, that I was responsible for those being there. And what I've learned is if you take responsibility for what is, you can take responsibility for what will be. But unfortunately, most people are in a state of denial. And I love the acronym of denial, which is don't even notice I am lying, and you're lying to yourself. No matter what you see, what life you're living now, what life you want to live in the future, you need to take responsibility. And so that was sort of the thing that really made a major positive change in my life, was coming across Wayne Dyer's tape series, and I started to realize that there was another pathway. I got into personal growth and development. I started to listen to people similar to Michael Gerber,